Hey y'all. For this video, I'm just thinking of doing another ranking of a horror film. I did Scream. So I'm gonna do Friday the 13th if I can talk. Um, I have not seen all of them. I've only seen 1 to 8, and I have seen some clips of Part 9 and Jason X. I won't count them since I didn't watch the whole film. For because I saw, I will probably not watch them because they look dumb. Um, I've seen Freddy vs. Jason and I've seen the remake, so I'm just gonna rank it on the ones I've watched around the whole film. And last place, my least favorite, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. That movie was just terrible in general. The whole film. A hot mess. The only part that was good was the kill when Jason punched Homie so hard he decapitated him. He punched his head off. That's the only good thing. Other than that, just no. The final girl was, well, technically not the final girl. The final couple um, was basically forgettable. Nothing too big about them except the girl has trauma, gone water because she don't know how to swim because of her evil uncle, which is by the way one of my least favorite characters in Friday the 13th, which was satisfying to see his death. It was satisfying for me. I rarely feel satisfied with a character's death. The only other times I feel satisfied about a death of a character in horror film is Carrie. Is that prom scene Carrie when Carrie just lost it, along with when Carrie killed her mom as well. Um, so yeah, Jason looked ridiculous, especially adult Jason looked fine. I didn't care that much. It was little kid Jason. The inconsistency of it was like what? Like Jason has hair and he looks normal. First of all, Jason never looked normal. Jason never looked normal as a kid, and he never had hair. He was bald headed. Like the only time he had hair was in part 2, and by then he was an adult, so that didn't bother me. But and then within each hallucination that the final girl has, of little boy Jason, he gets and more deformed, and it's like, what? It makes no sense. And also the kills were lackluster, except for a homie getting his head punched off. So yeah, and also the title was misleading, because it's like not much of the film was in Manhattan and like in for real New York. It was mainly on a cruise ship, and when they did end up going to New York, there wasn't actually anywhere. There was like a few shots, like a few scenes when they were actually in New York. They were actually somewhere else. I don't remember where they actually was for the setting, but like it was not New York. So yeah. Above part 8 would have to be probably 7. It'll probably be part 7. I like part 7 a lot more than part 8, but only the final couple are the only ones that I cared about or that was at least significant. I mean, even the guy was kind of forgettable, but I'm gonna let it slide because homie, the actor who played him was odd. So I'm going let the slide of him be forgettable. But Tina, I know Tina is a kind of a Carrie knockoff, but I kind of liked it because it brought something different to the film. But other than that, it was pretty much the same as the previous films, and the side characters slash victims was forgettable. The only other people I can remember is Melissa, who was the bitch. Um, the doctor who was just exploiting Tina's powers, just using for the wrong reasons, and then Tina's mom because she was a good mom. Um, Jason, I loved how Jason looked. I love how Jason looked. He looked so gnarly, especially when Tina ripped his mask off with her powers. He looked so cool, and Kane Hodder did really good. Kane Hodder always does good as Jason, but Part Seven is the best of Kane Hodder as Jason. Um, the kills were lackluster. Like I know that they were originally, I know that it was originally supposed to be more gory than how it's shown in the film, but um, they kept on having to edit and cut most of the gore out so that they can have a rated R thing, or have the movie be rated R. So I understand that. So I'm kind of cutting them some slack. But yeah. Um, what else? Nothing else really. To be honest, that was it. Um, above that is Part Five. I like Part Five. It's meh. But like Part Five is meh. Um, I the characters are not that forgettable. Are not that forgettable to be honest. Well, some of them are. And you know which ones is just about to get killed just like that. They're not gonna have that much screen time. So yeah. That was the second movie that within the Tommy trilogy, and I liked kind of like the kind of way Tommy was like. Um, he was more quiet, very intense. He be beating people up, at least until came face to face with Jason. Speaking with spoiler alert, if you haven't not seen Part Five, Jason's not really in the film. It's a copycat, and the motive I was just like, okay, and the reveal was just like it was completely lackluster, and also it was pretty much obvious of who the killer was, literally, literally from when the character was first introduced. It was that obvious. So it was like, nope. So the kill reveal was not surprising at all. The kills, I didn't mind the kills. The kills were okay. There were a few good kills, but for the most part, it was just man. It wasn't lackluster. It was just man. It was just zoom ins to to people's reactions to when they see Jason, um, or as they get killed. So, um, I liked the trio that survived. Well, besides Tommy, Pam. She was a different final girl because she wasn't within like the normal age range of the final girls in the Friday the 13th film. She was a little bit older, and also Reggie was funny, and yeah, pretty much that's pretty much it. Um, above Part Five, I'll probably say the remake. Well, actually no. Well, yeah, the remake. Um, because the remake was just meh. It was just meh. It wasn't the worst remake, but it wasn't really the best. But granted, that aren't really remakes that I would say that are the best. So, it was okay. It was tolerable. I'll say that it was tolerable. Um, there are forgettable characters except for um, that one dude. I forgot his name, but I cannot stand him. He was a spoiled brat, and when Jason got him, it was so satisfying. I forgot his name, but he was a blonde. He, yeah, kind of like blonde hair, like to here. Um, he was Daniel Panabaker's boyfriend until he slept with with the other girl in the group. Um, Jason Jason was dangerous. Jason was dangerous in the film, but was like it's some nitpicking stuff. Like, well, Jason running, I don't mind it because Jason has ran before. So, but him kidnapping someone, I was like, Jason never does that, and the reason why because the girl looks like his mom. Like, I do not care. Jason never kidnapped anyone. He would just straight up kill someone. But yeah, I kind of liked how the remake kind of mixed together the stories of parts one to three, um, and the kills were brutal. The kills were good. They were brutal. Um, what else? Um, I liked the whole dynamic of the brother and sister thing. And I liked Daniel Hannah Baker's character, and her death was shocking. I was like, oh, it was just out of nowhere. Um, and I also loved that Jason used traps. It gave something new to his character. Um, and yeah, that's about it. Above that, I would probably say the original. And don't get mad at me if that I did not put the original high. It was just a preference. It's just the thing. I like the well, not the remake. I like the original, but it can drag. Cause sometimes it can drag. It can drag out sometimes between like the kills. Um, but it does have some good suspenseful moments, and it has really good and iconic kills. Um, and also it had a good twist too. Um, um, that could shock that would shock people unless they watched Scream first, because Scream will spoil that ending for you. Um, so yeah, I recommend you watching the original Friday the 13th before watching Scream. Um, but yeah, the characters, but man, I didn't mind them. Um, that's pretty much it. It has it has its iconic moments, like besides some of the kills, like the Kevin Bacon kill, and I can kind of say yeah, the twist with Jason's mom being the killer, along with the Jason jump scare. But that's pretty much it. Above that, I would say Freddy vs. Jason. Freddy vs. Jason is just a fun time. It's just a fun movie to watch. Like, it's not even that scary, but it's just a fun movie to watch. So it's like if you're expecting to be scared while watching the film, you're gonna be disappointed. If you just want to watch it for a good time, you're gonna have quite the experience. Although I'm not a big fan of Jason, well, whoever played Jason, um, in the film, um, I didn't mind it. It was still fun. It was still a fun time to watch. Um, I love that Kelly Rowland was in it. I was like, girl, what is you doing in this film? um, but yeah, um, the only thing I wished was that I wish that Freddy had more kills. I wish that Freddy had more kills than what he had in the film. And also there was some inconsistencies because it's like they were in Springfield. how in the world were they able to go from Springfield to Camp Crystal Lake, and they're in different states, and there was, and they, I know it's a movie and I'm over analyzing it, but it's just like, okay. And then the whole thing of the Jason scared of water. The whole thing of Jason scared of water never made sense to me, because it's like Jason was never scared of water. If you saw parts 4, 6, and 7, and 8, Jason was constantly in water. He was in water. If he was scared to be in the water, then he wouldn't even done kills in water. So that never made sense to me. Now, that never made sense to me. That bothered me. I was like, Jason's gonna water. I was like, what? Bye. But yeah. Above that is part 3. I enjoyed part 3, even though it's so corny. Even though it's so corny with all the 3D shots, especially when you watch it like in the regular version, not like in the 3D way. It's so corny, but it's still a lot of fun. And that's when we get Jason's iconic mask. That's when we get his mask, his hockey mask. And I like Chris as a final girl. She was a good final girl. She fought back. She fought back. She was a formidable opponent to Jason. Also, there were some good kills. Shelly was annoying, but I could still tolerate him. Also, Chris's boyfriend, I did not like him because he was so selfish. All he wanted to do was just was to get into Chris's pants. And when she just be like, no, he I just can't. I have mixed feelings about the whole thing of Chris being attacked by Jason, which by the way, they didn't say his name, but Jason like attacked him and I don't even know what he did to her. I have mixed feelings. Like, I kind of like the backstory of that happening, because it like kind of brings sympathy to her, but also it's like it kind of doesn't make sense. Like, it's kind of inconsistent, because it's like, okay, how long ago was this? And well, it was like a couple of years, so it was like, so this happened before part 2. Because it was like, okay, so he attacked Chris before part 2, before the events of part 2, and that was the case. Where did he get a different outfit? And well, him going there, I can see why. Him going there, but it's like he was wearing a different outfit in part 2. Then in the flashback, it was supposed to be like a couple years in the past, so that never made sense to me. So that was inconsistent, and then also, I don't know if it was implied that Jason like did something sexually to her, but like, just no. Also, I didn't care for the ending that much regarding of them straight up copying what happened in part 1, except that instead of Jason do the jump scare, it was his mom. I was like, okay. But yeah. Above that is part 6. I enjoyed part 6. That was when zombie Jason was born and he was resurrected. I liked Tom Matthews as Tommy. I liked the characters. There wasn't really a character that I did not like. Well, probably except for the sheriff's deputy. I was like, bye. I love bye. You ain't gonna be doing nothing. So I loved Megan. She was a good final girl. She was entertaining. I liked some of the jokes and how meta it was. There was some good kills. I loved the kills. And I liked the final act. There's not really too many critiques regarding the film, so yeah, it was just enjoyable for me to watch. Above that, my second favorite, I think is my top two, my first and my second favorite, always um, change. So I think I as of right now, my favorite is well, not my favorite. My second favorite is part four. I love part four. I love the characters. They were entertaining, and you kind of felt bad for, well, at least most of them. You felt bad for most of them that was getting killed. It was the first of the trilogy of Tommy. Uh, uh, Corey Feldman did good as Tommy. I loved Trish. She was a good final girl, especially since she was protecting her brother. Um, um, it has some really good. It has some really good deaths. Jason looked good. He looked like a beast. Um, and and also the way they killed off Jason. Um, um, well, he didn't technically kill Jason because of what happened in part five. Um, Jason's death was really good. Um, but yeah, and I liked how Tommy used like his kind of like his makeup skills to manipulate Jason and to trick him and to distract him, which brings me to my number one favorite, which is part two. Part two is a better version of the first movie. It was really good. Ginny is my favorite final girl out of all of them in the films, and I liked all the characters. I loved all the characters. They um, they were entertaining, and I enjoyed them. Not one of them got on my nerves. Um, and the kills were good, even though they were supposed to be more, even though they were more gory, they weren't as lackluster as how Part Seven was. Um, and I loved the final act. I loved that Jenny put on the mom's sweater and pretended to be the mom to like distract Jason and to trick him. Um, and also, I liked the jump scare of Jason as well. Um, and my boy Jason, and I liked how Jason looked. Um, the outfit and the sack. And I like Sack Cat Jason. I love Hiking Mask Jason, but Sack Cat Jason, I like Sack Cat Jason. I feel like um, I feel like that's an underrated kind of like outfit of Jason or look for Jason in my opinion. Um, so yeah, this was probably all over the place, but I hope it wasn't as bad as my Scream ranking because I was all over the place on that one. So, but whoever views this video, uh, like the video and then comment on your rankings of the Friday the 13th films. Um, so yeah, I'll see you next time.